Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the DLF Trade Show. A proud, happy, beautiful, wonderful, amazing, gigantic, furious, mighty member of the DLF YouTube channel. I ran out of adjectives. I mean, probably should have had the thesaurus up because I have screens, but that would mean I planned something, and I don't do that. I just say things as they come to my brain, and once my brain stops working, I stopped talking. Okay, well, Russ Fisher at Dynasty House, Addison Hayes at AmazeHayes _, the senior contributor to DLF. We are here to use those wonderful DynastyLeagueFootball.com tools, the DLF Trade Finder and the DLF Trade Analyzer, to go over a couple of players and give you a whole lot of views of the value of those players. And Addison and I just like talking trades, so we figured why not record it, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, today we are sort of celebrating Scott Fishbowl. Scott Fishbowl drafts started on Monday, and I don't know about all of you out there, but I know for me and a lot of people, it like marks the official beginning of fantasy football season. It's like, it's here, it's real, it's happening. I know these players have more fantasy value than dynasty value. I think their production is going to outweigh what it'll cost to go trade for them. Mm-hmm. And being the first person to do that, you get to set the market. You get to be the first person to be like, let me take this old guy off your team that you don't really need anymore because your team's not good as it was last year. Say it nicer than that. Work on your tact. But I'm not talking to your league mate, so I can just say that stuff. The first person is, I mean, we talk super flex values whenever we're talking quarterbacks, but honestly, in a one quarterback league, you can probably go get Tom Brady for like next to nothing. And I don't care that he's a 1 year rental. Every single year, we're going to treat him as a 1 year rental. Every single year, he can be the QB1 because he's just that darn good. Tom Brady in a 12-team Superflex league. The first trade we have is Trevor Lawrence for the 103 and Tom Brady. 103 comes in at 498.6. Someone who still hasn't done their rookie draft. Congrats on the patience on that one. And Tom Brady 251.7, which is honestly a little higher than I thought it would be for a total of 750.3. Trevor Lawrence 636.3 by himself. This falls into what we always say, 2 for 1. You should be overpaying to get the more valuable asset. If I have Trevor Lawrence, oh man, I do this all day.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Trevor Lawrence, I believe in the player. I believe in the talent. Believing in the Jaguars is a little tough. Like, clearly it can't be as bad as it was last year. But I love trades. And I feel like when you're trading away a young stud, even though he hasn't stud prospect, you know, however you want to phrase it, just getting older guys feels like you're ruining something. Like, I had this player, he was a core piece of my team, and I just, hold on, because this number is going to be ridiculous. It is double Trevor Lawrence. Like, Tom Brady is literally double Trevor Lawrence's age. Like, you just got 22 years older at quarterback.
Wow.
Right. So being able to get such a good pick on top of that is the beautiful balance of scoring points, but not ruining the youth core of your team. Now, you can use that pick to draft one of those wide receivers or Kenneth Walker, or again, flip that for something else. But I love the idea of this trade, and I love doing this for Tom Brady and the pick. The other way, I think this is what you have to do, even now when Trevor Lawrence's value is, yes, at 636 points, still a depressed value. Yeah, I could do this the other way around. I prefer to trade away Trevor Lawrence for Brady in the pick, but I think I could talk myself into Brady in the pick for Trevor Lawrence if I am going that rebuilding route.
Yeah, I struggled with this one because, I mean, to me, we all know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. So this should be relatively easy, like you said, where you maintain or, you know, in 2022 could easily get better production in Tom Brady than Trevor Lawrence. And then you get the 1.03 in this year's class to do whatever you kind of want with. and whoever that might end up be, if it's London or Walker or Burks. My only issue with this is next year. So we're saying that Tom Brady is a 1-year rental. I feel like it's like a 95% certainty that Tom Brady's done after this year. So in a super flex league, you've traded Trevor Lawrence for 1-year production from Tom Brady, and that 1.03 is not a quarterback. So you've now lost a quarterback at the shot of winning a championship, which if it doesn't happen, I think you've set yourself up worse long-term for that shot on winning, right? Which is something that 2019 and 2020 Addison would have probably done, but 2022 Addison, I'm a little bit more.
There's a new Addison in town this year.
There is. I'm a little more scared to do that just to win. And I feel like, though, if that 1.03, this might be a hot take or semi-hot take. If that was a 23 first, I might feel better about this. Because then I feel like
that makes absolute sense. I mean, I get it.
I have a better chance of getting a quarterback next year.
Yeah.
With that 23 first, if it's top 8, then at least I can kind of hit reset on a quarterback next year and still get the production from Tom Brady this year. That would be better than Trevor Lawrence.
Okay. I pulled up the values because in the trade analyzer, you can just go look at the list of all of the players' values. You don't have to type them into the actual analyzer. I went to the 103, and I mean, we're talking, what if instead of that pick, what if it was Justin Fields or Tua? Wow, that is a really, Aaron Rodgers would be silly to do that because of age-wise. Stafford is a little too high, but still, those are the names around the 103. So thinking that you could just flip the 103 for another quarterback, like I feel like that's sort of realistic.
Yeah. I mean, I'd even be comfortable, if it was the 103 plus for Stafford, and that's what you're able to do next.
Yeah, exactly.
I would totally be fine to do that.
All right.
So that's I'm good with that. We're in.
Cool. Let's move on to the next one, where this, I think, is going to be a very popular trade in the next coming months. Tom Brady and a 23 second for a 23 first. Because no one is giving up a 23 first for a 67-year-old man, regardless of the fact that he has the chance to win you a championship this year. Mm-hmm. But without even thinking about it, I would add my 23 second to Tom Brady to push me up to that first.
Yeah, essentially, your thinking is that that's the 112, right?
Well, the 212 and Tom Brady for a first-round pick that is not the 12.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm backwards. The 212.
No,
I was right the first time.
You were right the first time.
You're sending the first, so you're hoping that that's the 112 for Tom Brady, and maybe that second ends up being like the 205.
And it's not like, you're talking like a 5-6 pick difference, and you got Tom Brady.
Right.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, you just got to make sure that you win. But I'm willing to take that shot more so than the shot on Trevor Lawrence, because I feel like if I'm making that move to where I'm trading a first for Tom Brady, I don't think I would do that now. That would be something that I'd want to do in like week 8 or 9, or like right before the deadline, because I want to see, is this a trade that it's worth doing? That I am in a position to where if I just get Tom Brady and just add him in, because either one of my quarterbacks got hurt, or maybe they, haven't done as well as what I thought they would do, and I can plug Tom Brady in, that pushes me over the top, then I'm in. And then at least at that point, I feel like you're a playoff team to where worst case scenario, you get bounced in round 1. That's like the 107, 108,
Yeah. And I think this trade doesn't go anywhere. I think this is a trade that's going to happen throughout the season. Like,
right.
Let's say I did this now. I sent my first, I got Brady in a second. I will absolutely, in week 5, when my team sucks because everyone got hurt, send Brady in a second for someone else's first if I could do it. And I think it will happen, because there will always be a team competing. And if a team is competing, chances are they want Brady on their team, unless they are that ridiculous team that has like Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Right.
If you have both of them,
Congratulations. You
Congrats
won
on the
that?
championship. I mean, that's all I could say.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next player we have, a wee bit controversial on this one. I am all in, though. I am in on Zeke Elliott, especially for his price right now. I am here to buy the fact that he was hurt pretty much all of last year. I am here to the fact that Amari Cooper is gone and they don't have someone of his talent level to replace him, which means maybe they run the ball a little bit more. Maybe he catches another ball or two out of the backfield. Well, percentage wise, not one or two more, but like, I think his workload can get better. I think he can play better than he did last year. And if anything, just his price compared to what it used to be when he has a very similar ceiling in my head is super worth it.
Right.
Let's get to some trades. 12-team, 1 quarterback. The 103, Zeke Elliott and Derek Carr for Terry McLaurin and A.J. Dillon. What? Team A is giving up the highest value asset and the most pieces in the trade. So the 103 is 498.6, Zeke Elliott 299.5. Derek Carr 53.2 because it's one quarterback for a total of 851.3. Terry McLaurin 412.8 and AJ Dillon 245.7, total of 658.5, which, wow, Zeke and AJ Dillon are practically even value.
Yeah, you're gonna be mad. I would take AJ Dillon.
I understand it. I mean, I legitimately do. He's 3 years younger, has a lot less wear and tear on his, well, NFL wear and tear on his body, because AJ Dillon ran the ball a ton in college also. But I mean, me personally, I would still take Zeke. So, oh wow, like across, like how does the 103 is 498.6 and Terry McLaurin is 412.8. What do you think about Terry McLaurin and the 103? Like, like in those rookies, where would you slide Terry McLaurin?
Yeah, I would take the 1.03 over McLaurin. I would take London and Burks.
That's where
and that's probably where it would be. So at the 103, you're guaranteed to get one of those two.
Yep.
Or I guess Breece Hall, but you're guaranteed one of those two wide receivers. So yeah, I would take that 1.03 over McLaurin, but it is pretty close.
And then AJ Dillon over Zeke for you, regardless of the 50-point difference.
Right. So those about basically cancel each other out, and then you get a free Derek Carr on the pick and Zeke side in one quarterback.
I don't see how this isn't the Zeke pick and Derek Carr side.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I would take that one because I at least know that I think Zeke, I feel very confident that Zeke is going to outscore AJ Dillon this year. And I mean, possibly even next year. We'll have to see with the Aaron Jones situation. I think you're getting back end RB1 numbers this year from Zeke and probably RB2 numbers next year from Zeke, which is going to be greater overall than AJ Dillon. It's just Dillon is the going up asset and Zeke is the rapidly going down asset. So that's where I would take Dillon over Zeke comes from. But the rest of like the whole entire trade as a package, I would take the Zeke side on this one for sure.
Yeah. The next trade is, oh boy, T. Higgins and Zeke Elliott for Kenneth Walker, the 202, and Pat Freiermuth. So T. Higgins, 681.2, Zeke Elliott, 299.5 for a total of 980.7. Kenneth Walker, 495, the 202, 172.5, and Pat Freiermuth, 124.5 for a total of 792. So we are talking a difference of almost 200. We are talking the 112, the 201. I mean, difference between these, like I take T. Higgins over that other side completely, like without thinking about it. I would send Kenneth Walker the 202 and Pat Freiermuth just for T. Higgins.
Yeah, easily.
Which, like, that's two, like, which means Zeke is like barely being valued.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
That's why I'm showing these two trades. And I mean, I'm not just cherry picking these ones either. There are a lot of other really bad Zeke Elliott trades. Like the next one is probably shows.
I am very much looking forward to talking to this next one.
Yeah, but it's just like there are a lot of really bad Ezekiel Elliott trades that are going on right now in the Trade Finder that it just, you know, I was never a person that was like actively going to go out and seek trading for Ezekiel Elliott.
Come on, you couldn't just let the rhyme go.
Yeah, I heard it and I heard it in my head and then I didn't know if I wanted to say it.
Always say the rhyme or the alliteration when you have it. I don't care. You always do it.
So, but now I think I'm going to go out and seek Zeke.
Yes.
Because these trades are kind of atrocious. Because it seems like, it's especially if you're on Twitter, you're hearing all this negativity around Zeke Elliott, and you're hearing all of this positivity around Tony Pollard, to where people are already ready to make that switch, and that switch isn't happening. So I'm taking Ezekiel Elliott in all these trades, and before this drops tomorrow, I'm gonna try and acquire Ezekiel Elliott.
Yep. Especially like this next one, Zeke Elliott for Christian Kirk and Chase Edmonds.
I'm gonna try this right now. I have Chase Edmonds in this league. I'm gonna try it out right now. We'll see if it happens before the end of the show.
I am a fan of both of these players, in Chase Edmonds and Christian Kirk. But come on. Zeke Elliott, 299.5. Christian Kirk, 153.9. Chase Edmonds, 98.6 for a total of 252.5. They didn't even compile the value of Zeke. Like, that's... And you didn't get much younger. Like, Chase Edmonds is 26. I mean, Christian Kirk being 25 doesn't matter because he's a wide receiver, so he has those couple of extra years. But that's gross. Like, to me, that's not good. And you're too busy looking for a trade, so I'll assume you agree with me, and we're going to move on.
No, I do 100% agree. So does this sound okay? It's going to be Edmonds, and I don't have Kirk, but I have Robert Woods.
It's a little lower, but it's worth a shot.
For one, Ezekiel Elliott. Look at that. We're out here proposing trades on the spot. We'll see what happens. What
we do on the DLF Trade Show. I can't believe I said it like that. The next player we're going to talk about. Hold on.
Oh!
If I ever get unlazy, it's going to go right there.
Shadow boxes from Michaels.
They're over there. I just have to do something about it. That's the problem. Like I said, if I get unlazy, I have everything. I just haven't done anything about it. I have 3 jerseys sitting on this chair next to me. Okay, it's Keenan Allen in a 12-team one. Okay, do we need to talk about why you're acquiring Keenan Allen? Keenan Allen is always awesome, and he's on a great offense. The end.
Yeah.
12-team one quarterback. Keenan Allen and Nyheim Hines for Cortland Sutton, the 203, and the Tim Patrick. So Keenan Allen, 314.5. Nyheim Hines, 2... Sorry, I almost said that like that was going to be in the hundreds. 28.3 for a total of 342.8. Cortland Sutton, 276.8. The 203, 158.4. Tim Patrick, 24.8 for a total of 460. So we can cross off Nyheim Hines and Tim Patrick because they are. So this is Cortland Sutton and a second for Keenan Allen. At that price, I kind of want Cortland Sutton and a second. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I saw this one. I thought this was very interesting because I wanted to see how far the Keenan Allen love would go. But I know you also love Cortland Sutton.
I do also love Cortland Sutton. I mean, here's the thing.
My Zeke Elliott trade got rejected.
That was fast.
That was fast.
I don't really... Okay, so here's all of my problems with this. I think there's a very, 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 very likely chance that Keenan Allen outscores Cortland Sutton. But if Cortland Sutton has good stats this year, his value is going to go up because he's still with Russell Wilson.
Yep.
And then you're getting the 203, which, man, like if that, I mean, it's a 1 QB. So, I mean, that's probably not turning into like David Bell, but like Alec Pierce, or like you can flip that into like, you can get another wide receiver that might be able to help you this year.
I think it is David Bell. People hate David Bell. You can't even say anything. It's just that's the answer. I made you vote against Keenan Allen. I'm sorry.
But also, who does David Bell comp to?
Yeah, Keenan Allen.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, man, you made me pick against Keenan Allen, but honestly, I think it's good. You know, Sutton, has he crept up enough where maybe they should be even? Like, but if you, I don't know, because I think people might be too enamored with what his upside could be with Russell Wilson that it might have pushed up enough. But to me, Sutton in a second for Allen, I wouldn't bat an eyelash. I would just be like, okay.
Yeah, it would be a bet against Cortland Sutton. It's like if Jerry Jeudy is the guy,
Yeah.
and Russell Wilson loves Jeudy, maybe Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler and Albert O kind of all cut into Sutton. Whereas you're taking the known production in Keenan Allen. Like nothing's gonna change with Keenan Allen, who is also attached to a fantastic quarterback. The only difference really between the two is 4 years of age.
Yeah, and Keenan Allen is the kind of player where he doesn't need to be fast. It don't matter.
Yeah. So it's just, do you just want to take the known production,
Yep.
or are you willing to roll the dice a little bit more?
Okay, this next one is super interesting. In a 12-team Superflex league, Keenan Allen and Josh Jacobs for Leonard Fournette and Chris Olave. 284.5 for Keenan Allen, 203.3 for Josh Jacobs for a total of 487. Leonard Fournette, 169.5. Chris Olave, 148 for a total of 317.5. This is pretty much free Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, kind of.
And yeah, Fournette does seem a little bit low for what we think his production can be.
Mm-hmm.
But, and maybe is this low for Olave? Yes. Oh, right. 1 QB, the 203 is going to be worth a lot. Yeah, never mind. Maybe it's low for Olave too. I don't know. Maybe it's the values on this are weird, but like, give me Keenan handedly over either of these guys. And then, while I probably want both of them over Jacobs, not enough to even it out.
I love you were figuring that out as you were going along.
1000%. It's I'm having trouble putting this together in my head. But to me, I like Chris Olave. I think he's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I like him on the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
But Keenan Allen's Keenan Allen, and Josh Jacobs, I get that his situation got a little muddied. He's still crazy young. He's still very good. And I don't think he just craters in production to where you need to move him. So I want Keenan and Josh Jacobs most of the time in this.
Yeah, I agree. If you replace Leonard Fournette with like any other running back that probably is like 3 or 4 years younger, I could see the side of it with the age thing. It might be at that range. You might be talking about like CEH, or I wouldn't do Miles Sanders, but you got
hold on. CEH, Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm in.
There's Fournette. Not a lot of running backs around here. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is kind of hard. But if you were younger than Leonard Fournette, I could see the age thing where you're just taking those two guys, betting against Josh Jacobs, just getting off of the age of Keenan Allen. But because it's this trade entirely, I'm going to take the Keenan Allen side. I'd take Keenan over Chris Olave, and Fournette and Josh Jacobs are, I think, similar in terms of unknown futures. But Fournette's probably going to score a little bit more this year, but Josh Jacobs 3 years younger, so he has the opportunity to still play for a second contract and be a starter somewhere else. Whereas if Fournette signs a second contract, he's going to get like Melvin Gordon if he's not on the Buccaneers in a year or two. So younger guy.
Okay, and we're doing a twist on our next little segment where this isn't my inbox we're going into. We're going into Addison's inbox. Mm-hmm. And boy, oh boy, he wants me to read stuff. And printed it really small.
That's just how big the trade is, dude. This is so much fun.
Okay. Everybody get ready. Get a pen and paper because you're going to need it for this one. 10-team Superflex. CeeDee Lamb, Deshaun Watson, a 23 first, Joe Mixon, Marquise Brown, a 23 second, and a 24 second. 4. Lamar Jackson, DeAndre Swift, Devontae Adams, and Rashad. What is this?
I don't really know what happened. It just all happened at once. This was the trade. This is not, I'm not compiling like I did, I did 3 moves and this is what it ended up being. This was one trade, me and one other guy in my home Dynasty league, and we did this thing out.
Okay, well, I'm not reading all of the points but the point total on the CeeDee Lamb side is 2,456.1. The total on the Lamar Jackson side, 2,293.6. Man, this is going to be rough. Okay. No, I could tell you right now, I think the value, a lot of this comes down to what you think on Deshaun Watson and his value.
Yeah.
Honestly, me being me, I value him a lot less than the analyzer does and that anyone else probably does. So in that case, give me the Lamar Jackson side pretty easily because like Lamar Jackson every season has that QB1 upside. Deshaun Jackson, if he even plays this year, he hasn't played in a couple of years already.
Did you say Deshaun Jackson?
Deshaun Jackson hasn't played in a couple of years. I'm not wrong.
That is pretty true. You're right.
Deshaun Watson, that's how much I don't feel like talking about Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson hasn't played in a couple of years anyway, so we don't know what he's really going to be. And I like getting younger at running back because that is value insulation, especially with Swift, like, you know, jersey behind that guy's head. CeeDee Lamb, I want him to work out. His value can tank. The only thing that isn't insulated on that other side is Devontae Adams.
Right.
And of course, you know, Marquise Brown is great. Joe Mixon is younger than a lot of people think. Like everyone probably puts him in that 27-year range with McCaffrey and Cook, but he's 25. So, I mean, I think he has a little extra time than some people place on him. And there's a 23 first, which is nice. But I got to be honest, like, I love the condensation is the wrong word. The condensing of these assets.
Yeah.
Like, I like the smaller side of this. The only time, like, it would have to be a crazy active league and me be very, very bored for me to take the bigger side of this. Because those are mostly very good assets. And I want, like, 2-3 of them. So I'd have to be able to flip them pretty easily.
Yeah. So I got the long side. I got Deshaun Watson and CeeDee Lamb, and I gave up the Jackson, Swift, Adams side. Basically my rationale, and because I had to break this down into how does this fit in like smaller trades and stuff.
Yeah, if you give me 30 minutes and a pen and paper, I can really do this. But you know, we're sitting here recording a live YouTube video, so I figured I would just talk.
Yeah, let me hit you with where I was. I'm taking Lamb over Devontae Adams for the age and value. I'm taking Hollywood over Rashad Bateman.
I think those two.
I think those two are pretty easy. Where I got the rest of it from was I went Deshaun Watson and a first for Lamar.
Yeah.
And then Mixon in 2 seconds for DeAndre Swift.
When you say it like that, that does feel insanely even.
That's where I was. And it really does come down to Deshaun Watson. Like if he's only suspended for 4 or 6 games, like that most recent Browns reporter came out with saying that, I don't know if that's
instantly saw reports that they were just making things up.
Yeah.
Like other Browns reporters were like, we don't know this.
If he plays at all this year, basically, I think I win.
I have a question.
Yes.
Let's say he's suspended 8 games, you know, something that's like a part of the season.
Yeah.
He plays the next 10 games, whatever the season is anymore. I can't keep track. And looks mediocre. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's unfair to expect him to walk in and look like Deshaun Watson. And I almost said Deshaun Jackson, which also would have been a very fair statement. It is not fair to expect him to look like Deshaun Jackson. What's his value look like after this season if he plays a sizable amount of games? I'm not talking like 3, but if he's playing like 7 to 10 games and looks, I'm trying to get like a player that to play, like, let's say he's like Kirk Cousins mediocre, because Deshaun Watson was never really a runner of any way, shape, or form. So he's not going to get that floor. So I can't say like Jalen Hurts or something like that. But if he plays QB 12 to 15-ish, does his value fall because we still just been expecting him to come back and play as high-end QB Deshaun Watson?
I'm going to answer that with what happened with Cam Akers, which is no. I mean, it'll be.
Yeah, but that's also not the same in that, yeah, Cam Akers went from being like RB 12 to RB 30 to RB 15. I mean, like but we're talking someone who was in the QB1 conversation before all this stuff went down.
Well, I mean, Cam Akers was a top 5 running back asset before he tore his Achilles. He was a top 10 one quarterback asset.
Is he really?
Like all last summer. And then the first month of his Achilles injury, that ADP tanked him back down. And then he's now recovered, and he's actually RB13 now. So, and basically why I make that comparison is people are going to see if Deshaun Watson's not fantastic, then the next offseason is going to be, well, he's still 27 years old. Yeah. He's been elite before. This wasn't due to injury. It was only just due to the fact that he just did not play football for.
Which is why I wanted to say he played a sizable amount of games. Like, we saw Cam Akers come back way too early and play 3 games, which is, I don't even think it's fair to judge his value based off of those. But I mean, it is what it is. But like, that's why
there's also,
he got to shake some of that rust off and still didn't look great.
Right. Then there's also, he's on a new team. He's got to learn a new offense. He's got to play with new players and new receivers and, you know, and Amari Cooper and stuff like that. And all of that kind of, I could see the excuses start piling up really, really quickly to where we start talking ourselves back into Deshaun Watson being Houston Texans Deshaun Watson, to where his value holds, especially the fact that we're going to, you know, we're losing Aaron Rodgers. We're losing Tom Brady. We're losing probably, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are going to say stuff about like Matthew Stafford because he's starting to get up. He's 34, 35 or whatever he is. You know, there's a lot of other aging veterans. I don't think Watson's ever going to creep back into, you know, like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. But I think he's now Stafford, Russell Wilson.
So he's
Dak Prescott.
He has safely put himself in that like 3rd tier.
Yeah, he's top 10. I don't think he'll ever drop below that. I don't know if he can rise up, but that's where the 23 first comes in too.
Oh, for sure. Yes,
where that basically mitigates that with my evaluation. That's where Deshaun Watson and 23 first for Lamar.
Oh, I was just curious because I mean, me and Deshaun Watson's value, I figured it's just a good conversation to have. I was curious.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a Deshaun Watson conversation. We've kind of steered clear away from that topic, and it's gross for sure. I totally get all that stuff, but like I'm just kind of putting on my like blinders and looking at fantasy points. But yeah, everything on the outside is disgusting. So, but there is that. But there's a lot more going on in this trade that I was very happy with. A lot of the other stuff, and really it does come down to.
Well, it's really funny because usually we like to say, well, in a 10-team league, you got to start your studs. These are all studs. Like, this trade is ridiculous. Like, I kind of wish I was like there to hear you two talk this out.
It took like 10 minutes, honestly.
Wow, that's boring.
We've been going back and forth for maybe months on a handful of different players. And then you with just, like, Swift and Mixon and Adams and it all combined into one day.
Fantastic.
and it was really, really fun. So yeah, so this gives me my 3rd 2023 first in that league.
Nice.
So that's fun. And another thing with the Watson thing too is if Watson doesn't play at all, my team is not going to be that great. So I'm probably going to have a top 3 pick.
Yeah, and everything you got is pretty young in that deal. So holding off for 1 year doesn't hurt any of that. Exactly. And you got rid of Devontae Adams, who would have hurt holding on to for 1 more year.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's fun.
that really, speaking of fun, this has been a very fun episode of the Dynasty Trades show, the DLF Dynasty Trade show. There you go. We're having so much fun. I forgot the name of the show we're on. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everything. Thank you for existing. Thank you. And we'll see you next time.